Sam Mitchell is one of the greats of AFL. He's done it all. He started the Box Hill Hawks. He won the best and fairest there. He won the Liston Trophy. He then went on to become a Brownlow medalist. He was also a premiership captain and a superstar of the Hawthorn Football Club. He's done his apprenticeship as an assistant coach at the West Coast Eagles, and now he's back at the Hawks, and he's here tonight to talk to us about his impression of what's going on at the moment. Sammy, welcome, buddy.
Yes, thanks for having me on. It's unorthodox, but happy to be doing something.
Exactly. Now, tell me, there's every chance we're going to be back training on Monday. We're hearing all sorts of things from South Australia tonight and from Western Australia, but tell us about the Hawks and how you're going with things. And what's the pressure like on for the assistant coaches and for the people around the coaching staff knowing the cuts are coming?
Yeah, it's a really difficult time for everyone in the industry. Fortunate being at a really strong football club, they've been really transparent. I think when you read anything about times of crisis, if you're in a leadership position, the number one most important thing to have is transparency. And so although there's been not a lot of information to give, Hawthorn's been really strong. And as soon as they get any, they send out an email, we get together on Zoom calls or Google Meet or whatever the process is, and we get together, we have a discussion, and we try to give all the information to all the people that are needing to have it. Unfortunately, there's never enough information for anyone, but having that transparency does give you a little bit of faith that as soon as anyone knows, we'll know as well.
So, Sam, were you put off completely when the season shut down, and have you been on the job keeper?
Yeah, so the process that Hawthorn went through was everyone applied for the JobKeeper, and some of us were lucky enough to maintain some form of role. So it's really important for the players to feel supported through this period. So, part of my role is to make sure I'm looking after the players, keeping in touch with them, making sure I'm seeing everyone's handling this, and everyone does it in their own sort of way, but trying to keep them not just fit, but also healthy from a active point of view and not going to bed too late and getting up too late, all those things. So certainly there's been plenty to do on a day-to-day basis, just from keeping in touch with people, and it's given us an opportunity to do all those things we wish we had time to do before, and trying to maintain that momentum with our time management skills has been probably one of the most difficult parts of this. So
they've guaranteed your job for next year, the Hawks?
Oh, we haven't spoken that far ahead as far as guaranteeing any jobs. I don't think anyone, as far as my knowledge goes, I'm not part of the conversations with AFL and all the high rollers who are making the big decisions on any of this process. But, we're just trying to get through this season and figure out, I think everyone believes that football in 2021 is going to look very different to the 2019 version. And we get through 2020 as best we can. And I think from a stability point of view, you want to try and keep as many of your best people as you can and as many people as you can. But unfortunately, we probably all know that's not going to be everyone.
Yeah. Sam, it all revolves around the football program, and Alistair's run a great program and a detailed program for a long period of time now that's been successful. So with these cuts coming, and they are coming, and we're all really saddened by it, as a principal, do you think you drop things out of the program? Or do you multi-skill people and they're just going to have to pick up their work rate to keep that program as complete as it is?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Ross. I'm not exactly sure what different clubs are going to do, and even what Hawthorn's going to do at this point, because we don't know at what stage the cut is going to be and how significant it's going to be. But there's going to be some clubs that decide to keep more people on less wages. There's going to be other clubs that choose to have less people on still close to the similar wages. Some parts of the program are probably going to inevitably drop out. So you have to figure out where your bang for buck is. And the challenge for all of us is we have to try to create the best system we can with a new set of resources. And I think every club is going to try to find an advantage with a new set of rules and a new set of guidelines for what is possible. The challenge for us is we won't have the resources next year that we had last year. Yeah, every year of our careers, it's gone upward.
Because, further to that, you've got no junk in your program, presumably. So something you're going to drop out, you think would have a performance impact. So it's going to be an interesting process for you.
Yeah, we have to figure out where our bang for buck is. And the easy things to do are drop out things that are late to the program. I can imagine some clubs might think that Pilates or yoga, those types of things, or time in the community is things that they might drop out of their programs. Whereas I know at Hawthorn, time in the community and spending time with your roots and having a bigger purpose and still being able to connect in those areas is something that's really important. And we believe that despite not having a immediate impact and a direct impact on the way teams play, and we think that building good citizens makes good players. So I'm sure Hawthorn will continue to strive towards that, despite that being perhaps not a direct impact on football. So that's where challenges are going to come for every football club.
Sam, Eddie spoke in your introduction about what you did coming through, knocked back in drafts, and you go on and be a Liston medalist and obviously a Brownlow medalist after that. We're not going to have a VFL this year, and I bumped in a few young Hawthorn players. Here is you playing for the Box Hill Hawks, doing your thing and waiting for your opportunity. I spoke to a few young Hawthorn players who were concerned about themselves not being able to play VFL football and put their best foot forward, not being able to play. Have you become even like a sports psychologist or the mental aspect of, as a coach through this period, to sort of put some minds at ease for what some players, young players, are going through?
Yeah, to be fair, I think every coach has to have a part-time pastime as a psychologist. A lot of what we deal with players and other coaches is how they're feeling. How can you get the best out of people? You obviously need to be thinking about their psychology. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of players on AFL lists who won't play a game of footy this year. And that is a really, really strange thing to say. But you might not be injured, you might be healthy, but just not breaking into your senior team, and you might not play. Now, I know that there's some that would say that that's the NFL system. But to me, I think it's very important for their development that they do get close to game type situations as often as we can. So that's going to be on us as coaches and as a league, as a code, to try and create an environment that's safe, of course, from a health point of view. But then we can create an environment where these players can play at close to, even if it's a 16 on 16 on that type of game, that we can get close to playing AFL footy.
So further to that, do you fear for the system and for those young players like yourself who got an opportunity at Box Hill and wouldn't have otherwise? Are these cuts going to be too deep, I suppose?
I don't know. I'm not privy to any of the conversations. I've heard numerous numbers of lists getting thrown around. I think that the great thing is that in our game, AFL players who are on AFL lists are not going to get a game every week, and that means they have to play somewhere else. And if I was a young player, I'd want to be playing in that competition against those players. When I think about my learning curve from being a Box Hill player, I was a Box Hill player, amateur, getting paid a couple of $100 a game, but I was playing with and against players who were elite athletes, professional athletes. I was playing with guys like Anthony Rock, who played 200 AFL games, and I was playing against Gary Hocking, who had retired and was playing in those type of games against those kind of guys. You just learn an enormous amount, and I hope that will remain. And I don't see a system where AFL players won't be playing against non-AFL players.
Sam, good on you, mate. Got a lot of challenges coming ahead, that's for sure, for everybody involved in football. Thank you very much for taking the time tonight, mate. As always, you've been quite illuminating with your answers to our questions. Thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for keeping everyone awake at night and keeping them all engaged in the game, and look forward to getting back, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Good on you, Sam. Sam Mitchell from the
Sam.
Hawthorn Football Club.